which is not on the agenda. However, any non-agenda matter will be referred to staff for a report or action at a subsequent board meeting, and no action can be taken on any such item discussed unless action has been authorized under the government code. Any person may also address the board on any agenda matter at the time that matter is discussed prior to board consideration and action. Speakers are requested to limit comments to 5 minutes. Any public comments? No public comments. Voluntary public roll call via teleconference. If any member of the public on the teleconference video conference wishes to identify themselves as present for this meeting, please do so for the record in minutes. Okay, no one's out there, huh? It's just us. Consent calendar minutes 1 and 2. It's approval of the February 25th, 2026 regular board meeting minutes and the March 25th, 2026 regular board meeting minutes. Motion to approve. Approved by Director, was that Glennon or?
Director Glennon.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
Second by VP Woods. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's 4-0. Okay, new business. Approval of biosolids removal project. Phase 1 bid documents and authorize the advertisement to bid. The presenter is General Manager Kim Domingo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just, I will start the staff report as soon as we get in. Hear me out? It's okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. This project is been in the works for a while. It's a mitigation project for the sludge or the biosolids, excuse me, that have accumulated over at the wastewater plant since the plant has been put into service. Under the most recent improvement project, the new waste discharge requirements required the district to mitigate those solids in a certain time frame. And actually, it was supposed to be done by March 1st, 2021. Staff had both before my arrival here and then afterwards looked at different options and how to get rid of this or to mitigate the biosolids that have accumulated in the 13 ponds that are there. After careful consideration of all the options, it was recommended to the board that we actually remove the sludge and take it and actually have it hauled off site and disposed of in an environmentally responsible manner. A work plan was actually submitted to the regional board on February 6, 2024, and recently updated that describes the final action that we're going to undertake. And actually on July 23rd also of this past year, the board adopted a resolution that authorized the private financing proposals, and in October of 2025, the board actually executed the loan documents for the project, which was about $10 million. So the proposed bid documents for you to consider tonight, as well as the advertisement to bid, is the first phase. And what that first phase consists of is the sludge and the accumulated sludge in ponds 1 through 12 will be scraped up and hauled off site. And the depths of those of that sludge is anywhere from a few inches to about eight inches, 6 to 8 inches. It's required to be bid. We won't know the actual cost until we open bids, but the estimate is around $6 million just for that portion of it. So, with that,
$6 million.
$6 million, yes. With that, the recommendation is to approve the biosolids removal project bid documents and authorize the advertisement to bid.
Okay. Motion to approve.
Aye.
All right, I didn't even have to go very far with it. Second,
Second.
motion by Director Hernandez, second by VP Wood. Any discussion? Have anything, Director Glennon?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Moves 4-0. We're moving right along here, aren't we? Directors' reports, comments, future agenda items. I'll start with the Vice President Wood.
I have no comments.
No
tonight.
comments.
No comments.
Director Glennon.
I will follow his lead.
Pressure's on you, Director Hernandez.
No comments.
Come on, Rick.
And I have no comment.
No, the other Rick. Come on, Rick.
No.
Say something down there. Say something.
Okay, no comments. General Counsel update, Mr. Komar, you have the floor.
I am falling in line, no comments.
Okay, General Manager update, Mr. Kim Domingo.
Okay,
You can't fall in line with.
Okay, I'm I just wanted to mention that we, staff met, we had first of all, we had a meeting with the Government and Community Relations Committee to talk about the internship program and kind of flesh that out.
Oh, great.
And so what's gonna happen is they've already started to screen individuals that are gonna be 18 by the time they graduate, that are probably not gonna go to a four-year school. And staff had just conducted a planning meeting on when we're gonna conduct the field trip that will then roll right into an application process, an interview process, that will then roll right into a selection and actually having an individual work as a temporary intern, temporary employee, basically. So, the public works staff was actually pretty excited about it. So it was good to hear. And the idea is to have the individual work with the water team for one day a week, wastewater team for another day of the week, spend some time in customer service, spend some time on learning some other things. So we're pretty excited about it. I think it's something that if it works out well this year, it seems like this would be a good program to continue. I will say this, that we only get them for about 2 months.
2 months.
2 months, because that's when the classes would start at AV. And that's really what we're going to be trying to encourage them to do, is to take the certification classes so they can get certification. So I just want to say thank you again to Director Washington, Director Webb, Director Hernandez for your input and your guidance on that, because it was certainly not something on my radar. And so I want to make sure you guys are credited with bringing this forward, and I think it's going to be a good thing.
Great.
And a benefit to the community. But yeah, thank you, because I don't know if I shared this at the last meeting, but one of the things that was mentioned by one of the counselors is that so they get businesses to participate in the program, But most of the businesses that in an internship program, most of these businesses are out of town. And the biggest challenge for most of these students is transportation. The fact
He completes, or she completes the program, letter of recommendation or something to go in their file.
Well, I don't know if they'll have enough job
Into,
experience
yeah.
in order to do that. The whole purpose of this is to get them some job exposure.
Just, yeah.
So that they can pursue it as a career. And I think that, I mean, they certainly can always put us down as a reference, right? They
Right, okay.
absolutely can.
That makes sense. That sounds
Like a
good.
letter of participation. Participating.
In an internship program, something we can think so.
So it sounds like it's time to start polishing up that rec plan over there, huh? Polishing those handrails. Are we gonna use Carvana wax or?
I need more important things. I want, you know, I don't
Great,
want
great.
them out there weed whacking and doing things. I want them to be interested in what's going on.
Okay, good, good. And he'll be providing Mr. Becker will be providing the insight at the tour of the plant. and-
Yeah, so, we actually have a date.
Yeah.
March 6th. March.
That should be great. You do a really good job with that. Yeah,
When?
May 14th.
May 14th?
Yep.
Really?
So it's May 6th.
I know it was a Wednesday.
Oh, May 6th.
May 14th with interviews between the 18th and 28th, start June 15th and end August 15th.
Okay. I thought it was May 6th. I could be wrong.
David field trip is May 6th.
Yep, May 6th.
Yeah.
all right.
On May 13th.
May 6th is, no, thank you. Yeah, field trip kind of presentation, we'll make sure that, parents are invited as well,
Great.
so that they can, they can see what we're trying to offer.
I'm gonna tag along on that one too.
Awesome. That is all.
Great.
So, yeah. That's all I have.
That's all you have. Want to probe you for one item. I saw in this month's newsletter, you guys went to a really big event. It appeared to be a coalition of Kearns.
It's the Kern County chapter of the CSD. So, it was a good opportunity. So I personally know our counterparts in several of the water districts over there. I thought it was gonna be a good opportunity to network, not just network a little bit, but also to provide our assistant general manager some exposure, so.
Good, good. All right. Very good. All right. You guys have any questions, comments? Okay, thank you. We'll move to Assistant General Manager update. Mr. Ben Stewart.
You know, I don't really have anything to add. It's been a pretty busy last couple of weeks, but we're just doing what we do. So I really don't have anything to add.
Who's gonna report on the phones?
On the phones, I could report on the phone. We're about 95% on the phones going to VoIP, the voice over internet. So the gentleman was out here this week and they're all installed except for one location. And so it's now voice over internet. So if we have a service interruption like we did back in December to the middle of January, it will no longer be affected. We're in the process of switching that completely offline and being on the internet with that same thing, which we spoke about in other meetings. He's also providing an internet service backup. So in case the internet does go down, we will still have a backup. It should automatically go seamlessly. No interruptions. So.
I just want to give Assistant General Manager Stewart a lot of credit for that because he really did a great job of implementing
All
that.
right.
Yeah, he did.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, that's it. All right, Director of Administration update, Ms. Sherry Tim.
Thank you, Mr. President. In April, we had 9 accounts that were shut off for non-payment. We also mailed 150 pending shut-off notices to delinquent account holders. We also had installed 634 Metron meters, which brings our total in use to 1,607 Metron meters. We're very excited about that. I have provided an update to the Brown Act Compliance Manual that was prepared by this prepared by CSDA for special districts. Each of you directors has a copy of it. Just want to let you know that it's to be used as a guideline, and it has not been vetted as that it aligns with our policy. So you've got some things in there. You've got SB 707 that's going to take place in July 1. So there's some things that are upcoming, but just remember that these are really solid guidelines for us to follow. And you're required to have a copy of it. So,
Great, great.
also provided is a list of director events and conferences for the fiscal year 2026-27. You all have a blue folder that contains a list of what events and conferences are available. So in an effort to secure the conferences and hotel accommodations in a timely manner, please return your document with your selections no later than June 1st. Now, that's the end of my report unless there were some questions.
Okay, any questions? I just want to make a comment. I'm going to go back to the newsletter again. I really like the newsletter, but I believe this is March, the newsletter for the month of March, and kind of touched on how your team gets together on Wednesdays and brainstorm to see what works and what doesn't work for the customers. Want to commend you for that. And I also just want to read a paragraph for the public to understand. This team is here to help all of our customers, which include those struggling to pay their bills. If you are falling behind on your water and sewer bill, we have options to help you get your account back in good standing. We can't help you if you don't reach out to us. So if you're struggling, please visit, call, or email our office, and we're here to help you. All right.
That actually reminds me, I forgot, I was supposed to mention and congratulate one of our staff members, Tim, I'm going to mispronounce his last name, Siebert. He obtained his PACP cert, which is a certification for the inspection of sewer lines. So this was the first time, this wasn't a renewal, so he attended the class last week and he passed, so he's definitely an asset for the district. So I wanted to congratulate him and let you guys know that he's continuing his education.
All right. Public Works update, Mr. Houghton.
He is not here tonight. I can do my best to answer any questions you may have regarding the public works report. I will say this, as you can tell that when it heats up, we get more service line leaks. So you can see the service line leak list is larger than normal. I want to give kudos to the staff on that because I was impressed with their triage and diagnosing which one was their severity and getting it all handled. So, any questions regarding the public works report, I can do my best to answer them for you.
You know, with the amount of leaks that we're having and stuff, does staff have any kind of framework of infrastructure upgrades to maybe, because I know, I mean, my neighborhood alone is 34 years old, so it's, things are starting to age out there, and I'm just kind of wondering, you know, I know it's easy to go out there and, you know, pothole and fix the leak, but are we looking at some capital projects of maybe upgrading our infrastructure to?
So in your capital projects budget, we've actually budgeted annually for service line replacement projects. Because most of our leaks are occurring on the service lines, the poly service lines. And, you know, you mentioned the age of the systems. It's poly lines, you know, pipes move. When water runs through it, they move. And they just have to move just a little tiny bit. It just has to be resting on just the right piece, the right rock in the trench to just keep working its way through, and that's usually how the leaks happen. And so we've tried to identify the areas, and actually we're working starting to work within our GIS system to try to come up with a systematic way to identify the areas that would make the most sense to then apply, you know, these budgeted funds. I think we're budgeting somewhere around $350,000 to $500,000. I don't remember the exact amount, but we have another project that's going to be starting in May 1st. That is right here next, right here.
Myrtle, Melvin, and
Yeah.
Dennis.
Yep. We've got, so the other thing that has happened, Vice President Wood, is staff started to, also when they had time, not, it's certainly not, doesn't happen, during what they call the weak season, the very busy season. But when they have time, they actually will actually perform a full service line replacement. They have actually done that as well. They probably was, I would say, if I venture a guess, I would say so far they probably replaced 10 maybe. Total.
They did the street at Garnet, that was the first project that was going on, and now they've moved over, they're actually doing the street up from Myrtle and Melvin. Richland is the one
Oh,
that
Richland,
they're,
okay.
and they're going over there, they're doing one service line, so it's a complete trench across the street, so they'll do 2 houses at a time and work their way down and do a complete service line.
You know, I understand, I know the ground is very rocky, especially in more and more parts of town than others. I'm not a geologist, and this is just a question. But when we excavate a line, would it help if I don't know, we could do it for compaction purposes, but maybe encase the line in fill sand and compact it as best we can, and then fill it in with dirt to where it'll take a while before the rocks work their way down through the sand to the line, which will probably inevitably happen because that's just the way the soil is. But
Well, actually, to properly install those lines, you absolutely need to do, a sand envelope around it. Because for that exact reason, and actually, if it's compacted correctly, we still have to follow the county's, improvement standards as far as the base layer and then the coming up to surface. So, these lines are relatively shallow most of the time. They're within 2 feet.
Yeah.
Typically, because they're coming up and over. So, the issue has been the backfill, just quite frankly. So if and I haven't verified this, but if we're backfilling with sand, that's the proper way to install those. And that probably wasn't happening.
yeah, because I don't think I think when they were just put in, I think they just basically just ran the lines.
Well, they either did that, they open cut them, but I think what they did was they tried to screen as much as they could out of the native and then just put it back in.
Yeah.
And,
Okay, I'm just kind of curious, just because I know that these guys bust their hump getting these leaks fixed every month, and
almost like a NASCAR crew, that's how quick they are.
yeah, and I mean they're amazing. They get out there and get it done, but it's just hopefully down the road sometime that they may not be doing that quite as much.
We're working on that.
Great new hire, we just started last week, Sergio. I'm gonna say anything wrong,
Villanueva?
he has jumped in with both feet, he's
Sergio.
fitting with the crew very well, and they almost have to pull him back and like, hey, let somebody else do some of the dirty work. This guy is covered in mud when he comes in and did everything,
Yep.
so, I feel you guys will be hearing his name more often for good reasons, he's a good guy on the crew.
Good, great.
Any other questions about the public works report?
Kim, looks like you got to put your engineer hat on for a second here.
No, that smells good. Past life.
It's pretty good.
Yes. To finish up the public works update, I want to invite Mr. Reinbecker,
Okay.
our chief water reclamation plant operator, to
Man,
provide an update.
How's everybody doing? I'll try to, since everybody else had no comments, I'll make it as quick as possible.
or just use up their time. go ahead.
Either way, it's warm.
I like to hear you talk.
Get out of here quick.
That's okay. I like to hear you talk.
As we close up the first quarter, I wanted to kind of come in and close up a couple things. It has been a very busy time for us and the district, since December-ish. You know, some of the things that we're gonna cover is some of the flow that has came in. Touch on what we treated, what we discharged, some of the general maintenance that we've been going over, and then a real life, real world scenario that happened to us. Now, I'm not here so much to focus on the incident that occurred. Hopefully you guys have the incident report if you want to read in depth of it, but that's not here what I'm here to showcase. As we get into this, I'm more here to showcase how you can have confidence in the experience of the staff that you guys employ out there at the wastewater plant and frankly, the entire district. So can we start with the Excel sheet? Overall, the plant has been doing exceptional. Flows have remained constant and nothing out of the ordinary. And we had no sustained compliance or compaction issues at the facility. When we get to the graph, sometimes it's easier to see the numbers other than hear me just talk about them. On the left, I tried to color code it as brown, nice water that comes in for you. The facility brought in 93 million gallons of wastewater. Due to our emergency overflow basin, we were able to feed the facility 96 million gallons. That's roughly about 1.076 million gallons a day.
Wow.
And we treated and discharged 94 million gallons in Q1. In acre feet, that's 289 acre feet. And to put it into something, at least I can understand, that would be enough to cover 218 football fields a foot deep. That's how much we credited, treated, and discharged and percolated back into the ground for future beneficial use. That is our flow data for the first quarter of the year. After that, I was fortunate enough to go with Director Wood and General Manager Mr. Domingo to a CWEA conference. That was very exciting. It was much different than my normal wastewater. I got to see another side of it, the collection side of the system, where frankly, I haven't been very involved, but is very critical to my wastewater treatment facility. That's how everything is conveyed there, and the cleaner that you can keep that limits the pollutants that are brought to my facility. So I really appreciated that. Not only that, we got to showcase our wastewater treatment plant, which all you guys know I love. That will take us kind of to where we can start our photos. During the few months at a facility like ours, the operators do not get to just operate. Other larger wastewater treatment plants, an operator simply does that, he operates. He does not troubleshoot, he does not do electrical, he does not install pumps and things of that nature. At our facility, you need to be a jack of all trades.
Multi-skilled.
Some of the general maintenance that we did was removing biosolids. This is not the same as what Mr. Domingo referred to earlier as the biosolids that have been stacking up that we have to have removed. Here's a picture. At the very end of this, I tried to put them all in order. You'll get to see a video of the gentleman hauling it off. Some of the other things that we did was we removed grit that is accumulated in some of our vaults, some of our pits and everything like that. So there are the guys out there with the vac truck, sucking out grease, grit, and whatever else debris, helping eliminate it from getting in downstream processes and damaging pumps, things of that nature. Go ahead.
When you say grit, what comes to your mind first? Eggshells or
Corn.
corn?
That's what comes first. It is a lot more than that, but that is initially what comes to my mind if you
That's
ask
the
me.
grit, okay.
Sand, eggshells, debris, seeds, sand that comes in down particle, things of that nature. So what that does is that's abrasive material. It gets in downstream processes, it limits life of pumps, it takes up volume in aeration basins, does a lot of things, and we try to remove it from the system. Like I said, we meet with, people, in this picture, we have a Somoto drive up there. Things need to be replaced, so we meet with reps, about how to replace drives. Now, in this picture, what you see in the background is referred to as a bar screen, and we're gonna get to that. Sean Pimentel, which is in the picture, is right around 6'3", give or take. He's taller than me. Now you can see the bar screen in the background. That bar screen's roughly about 13, 14 foot tall. Just remember that for later down the line, and we can advance to the next one. I also attended a leadership course. Now, I've raved about this. This helped me more than just this employment. I just wanted to share this. To be a leader, you need to be the example and model the way. You need to inspire a shared vision of the company. You need to challenge the process. Now, I don't mean that come in here and challenge Ben or Mr. Domingo or Sherry or you guys. I mean, think of the current way that we do things and think about how we can expand on that to make it better. Enable others to act. Train your crew in a way that empowers them and gives them the right to be able to act and make decisions, and encourage people to lead and think with their heart. That will take me into the next one where I was taking a picture, sending it to, at the CWEA, we have the manhole. Trying to talk Mr. Domingo and Ben into these. They're half the weight, they're composite, they're traffic rated. My daughter, who was 11, was able to lift the lid off. Phenomenal. I didn't get to see much at CWEA, but we'll get into that. You can go ahead.
Do you really want that though?
I like those.
What are they made of?
Composite, it sounded like, but you really want a 9-year-old to be able to pick up your
Yeah.
pen?
They're lockable.
Oh, okay.
They are lockable.
They have a special five-sided socket that you can only get from the manufacturer to open.
So, and they lock it, you can open now, but it's special, it's a little sneak. Okay,
You got a comment?
yes, sir.
You know, sometimes deviating from your cast iron lids, I understand that they're drivable, they're lockable, but locking manhole covers don't really work that well because you make it to where they can grab it off there or lift it off. Part of the deterrent is the heaviness of it. What do you do with it? How do you cart it somewhere? And when you have a composite, you lose your ability to weld your manhole covers closed.
It's very hard to weld cast iron in general.
Well, the point is that when you weld it, the whole idea of a cast iron, you put about 4 beads about that long on there. You should use a stainless steel welding rod. Go around, but you're right. It's not a strong weld. But you're not gonna get that welding thing off. But when you go to do it, you take a sledgehammer, you hit it, it cracks it, and then you can go ahead and get access.
All of our manholes, at least that I've seen in our system, you have the manhole, you're well aware. You got the manhole and the ring itself. All of our rings are concreted down. So it'd be very hard to get the ring.
Well, like one thing I just want to point out, do you know what the big number one reason for SSOs?
No.
Vandalism. People get into, trust me, they don't have nothing better to do. They get into manholes and they throw shopping carts, they throw mattresses, water heaters, boulders, whatever they can get their hands on, and just throw them down in there. And then they leave. And so you want to make it as difficult as possible for them to get in. And when I was in my sewers, we had locking manholes. we locked them and welded them. Because that was the only sure way. And then out in the desert, we covered them with dirt. We didn't, because,
Agreed,
Sounds like a topic for the wastewater committee.
yeah.
absolutely.
I just wanted to say that, I'm sorry, I couldn't let that one go.
No, you're all right.
Yeah, but take that for the
And I'd
next
be
part
happy to
tomorrow.
discuss
We'll
that
talk
in
about
many
more.
different ways in the committee. Unfortunately, I was not able to stay at the CWEA. I almost thought it was a joke. It was day 2, that will bring us to the incident. It was day 2, get up nice and early, having coffee. I get to go to CWEA, the staff is at work, I'm not. And I get a phone call first thing in the morning. From an operator that is very excited. And it basically, I tell him, why are you messing with me first thing this morning? It's the second day of CWA. You're just trying to ruin my morning while I'm here. And then the photos started to arrive. And I realized, and that will take us to, so these are our 2 bar screens. These are about 23 foot, 24 foot down. Those bar screens are about 13 foot tall. There's 2 of them. Those yellow dumpsters are almost the size of the green ones that you see out of restaurants, that the trucks pick them up. To put the size of all this in perspective, this is what we refer to as our headworks. And this is how I know our headworks to look like. You have the influent channel that all the incoming waste comes through. It goes through rotating screens that remove everything, goes into a wet well, and then is pumped and directed through our facility. Here is the photo that I get. And so you can understand my surprise. Now, like I said, I'm not really here to showcase the incident of something happened. I more want to focus on the staff, okay? I want to point out that the on-duty operators quickly identified the issues. They were able to manually control the system to override any programming in the brains of the system, to regain process control and divert the flow out to another place, okay? What happened is down phone lines inhibited our alarm systems that were in place. Lack of documentation and failure to thoroughly investigate undocumented process controls during a replacement piece of equipment years ago led to the removal of backup logic. That's what happened. You have a brain and you have the motors. There was logic in place that bypassed the brain in case of an emergency, and that logic was removed that led to a failure, okay? Operators, they identified everything and started to manually control the system to get everything back on. I returned early to assist with the recovery and to take over further operations for long-term decisions. It did lead to a couple of 24-hour shifts, so I came back to assist. You can go to the next one. Another photo of it as they're starting to pump it down. What I want to focus on, and I typed this so I can read it verbatim. I want to highlight is that the team performed under pressure. This was a significant real-world test, particularly in my absence. Their ability to respond effectively reflects on their training, their experience, and their operational discipline that we have established over the years of working together at this facility. With mild hesitation when it first began, I reminded the lead operator to think, calm down, and address the first thing you can to get water pumping. They assessed the situation, they made the right decisions, and they executed. This level of response is exactly what we trained for, and it's what they delivered. Okay? It's not practical for me to train every possible scenario for a wastewater treatment plant. I can't bring you there and train you for every single thing that might or might not happen. Instead, my training to my staff is focused much more on training and developing critical thinking and a strong understanding of all the components and my system as a whole. We train staff to stabilize the process first, then systematically troubleshoot and identify more often than not what is working correctly, or what is working correctly, which will lead you to what is not. More often in our job, it's a process of elimination. I can't tell you what's wrong, but I can tell you what's working, and with the understanding of our components and our system will lead you to what is not working. This approach builds adaptable operators who can respond effectively to unpredictable situations. Okay? Moving forward throughout this, there was obviously corrective actions. You can move on. There may be another photo. I think that's it. Did the video upload or not?
Yeah, sure.
We'll show that last. Obviously, we had to work on the phone systems. I think that was the final straw. And then the next, I think a couple days after that, we had working phone system.
We called AT&T and they came out and did this. Said we don't know, and we got the person that was gearing up to do the snap internet. We didn't even have a signed contract with the guy, and he says, I'll be out there this afternoon and we will get you a phone line working for your scan system.
Oh, okay, so it's tied in the.
So now it's
Okay,
part of the phone system.
That was my
We're
question.
Running independently, yep.
We had professional programmers and electricians come back in to understand the wiring for the backup logic and reinstalled and verified that the backup logic was installed and working. We completed necessary equipment repairs and replacements consisting of motors, gearboxes, stainless steel drive systems, everything else. And we also sat back and conducted an internal review of what we could have done different to either prevent or accelerate something of this nature next time to clean it up faster. In summary, while the incident was significant, the facility remained contained, compliant, and protected the whole time. Like I said, I did not showcase this to show you a huge incident happened at the plant. I wanted to demonstrate to you guys the experience of the staff and instill a level of confidence for not only the whole wastewater treatment staff, but as RCSD staff as a whole. That concludes it. This is just a video of, this is the biosolids that is produced, broken down, and is a byproduct of any wastewater reclamation facility.
I had a question.
Yes, sir.
The overflow, is that that's called the headworks area?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's, if you think about it, we have a gravity collection system. So in theory, that's the lowest point in our system. So that's where everything flows to. And so we have pumps that are on the other side of that wall that you saw.
So that was more than water. There were particles in that?
It was raw wastewater.
That was raw wastewater sewage.
It was raw wastewater.
Because my thought was if you had a built-in sump pump with the float, it would have detected that you got about 18 inches of water.
We have stuff that's better than that.
Okay.
The problem is in your car, you have a computer system that drives the motor. Your gas pedal is what we refer to as a VFD, a variable frequency drive. If I went to your vehicle and I ripped out all the electrical out of your car, it doesn't matter if your
Makes
motor's
sense, I
working,
got you.
the motor won't run.
Gotcha.
Hey, Ryan, I want to commend you guys. I was there with you when you were getting the pictures and stuff, and it was a pretty hectic day for all. But I understand, the PLCs went out, which can happen anytime, and it was drawn back that the alarms didn't go out because of the phone system not working. But what happened to the sonic sensors on the wall?
Yes,
Did those kick in or?
So,
they were.
oh, okay. Bird.
That's something. Open
Pigeon.
Oh,
Pigeon made it inside. So I can
Yeah.
answer that a little bit, because I am familiar with what happened. So, a PLC was replaced. I mean, excuse me, not a PLC, a VFD was replaced. And the logic that was the backup logic, so we actually have two ultrasonic sensors.
Right.
Okay, so it used to be, because I remember the guy who designed that thing in the beginning. So it used to have floats, actual floats in there for switches and stuff.
Right.
But instead they have ultrasonics. So what happened was the logic, what Ryan's talking about is it wasn't it wasn't hooked up. One of the ultrasonics was actually not hooked up to the logic. So the backup to the backup wasn't working, and that's the reason why it didn't kick off, because the backup ultrasonic only reads the high level, low level, and so it didn't kick off because it wasn't wired in.
Both ultrasonics are supposed to go to our PLC programming like he's talking about. So both ultrasonics run to our PLC that have programming. Then there's supposed to be a jumper for one of the level transducers that completely bypasses the PLC and goes straight to the motor or to the VFD.
Right.
And what it does is that one has a special alarm in it. Doesn't care what the PLC says. It doesn't care what your programming says. If the level hits this, it initiates backup logic. Well, years ago when we had it replaced, those jumper wires, if you will, were not reinstalled because there was no documentation of what those were.
With the ultrasonic sensors, do we also have a backup redundant system in there with probes?
We have flow in the influent channels. That if the water gets that high, it will trigger an influent channel alarm. Problem is none of your alarms, I can ask Mr. Domingo to put floats in the channel. If the phone line system goes down to where our alarms won't call out.
That was the key right there. I mean, you guys would have been notified long before it got to that point if the alarms would have gone off.
I'll give you this piece of information. The operators left at 5 o'clock. The best that we can tell, the PLCs failed around 5:17 p.m.
Oh, wow.
And the operators showed up to work at 6:30 a.m., started their runs, and caught that at 7 a.m.
Yeah, room full of chocolate milk.
So,
With that being said, two things I want to characterize with this. Speaking with John Houghton, that is only the third time in his entire career at the district that's happened. And then moving forward, we are looking to put in a smart cover at the first or second upstream manhole from the headworks. So within 30, 45 minutes of a significant increase, we'll get a completely separate independent phone call, text message to anybody on that list. So once we get that installed, it'll be completely separate from the system. So even if there's a failure there, we'll know before I get that redundancy.
Oh,
and one out of those three that Ben is talking about was not due to us. That was part of the construction project when they pulled the plug.
But one thing is that I want to commend you guys for a job well done. And you know what? Things like this happen. That's just the nature of the beast. You're gonna have, things that fail and things are gonna happen, but you guys stepped to the plate. You contained the problem, found out, like you said, what's working, what's not working. But then the aftermath is that you determined what caused it and then put in measures so it doesn't happen again like that.
The best we can.
And, but you can't sit there and say, nobody did anything wrong. It just, things break. And, but if I'm gonna blame somebody, I'm blaming AT&T because we're not getting if they would have done their job and had these phone lines fixed, it doesn't mean that you weren't gonna have the
The issue
breakdown
would
that you
still
had,
happen.
but it would have been contained. They would have been there within a couple hours and had it contained.
If we would have been notified, the severity would not have been to what it was.
Yeah.
So that concludes it. And thank you guys all very much for your time, and thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
You can add to my job resume, bird wrangler.
There you go. Okay, that's it. Any more questions? No. Okay, we will adjourn at 7:03.